Okay, so thank you everybody for coming out, and I appreciate the opportunity to work with you on this. And uh, I have some VIPs here, and especially one of them. Okay, let me just explain VIP, which I did in the last. I don't want to assume everybody was there at the last one that I did, but since I have not been in clinical practice for since 2013, if you count Manila. Um, and I retired for 6 years, came back 2019, I believe it was, and um, I had more to do, and so here I am again. But so the since I'm not in clinical practice, I do have some people that became my hands in the clinic, and so they're working on patients under my direction, and they are kind enough to share their records with me, and then I get to work it up and figure out all these little principles that you're going to be taught, and this one is no exception. Dr. Dr. Wang from San Diego, and she's she's here in the audience. Thank you very much for 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 sharing, because otherwise I wouldn't have much to share. And then I do see a couple other VIPs of my VIPs here that I've been working with, and I've been accumulating cases, and there's years of experience in these cases, years, not just the years where the case was actually treated, but years that it took to learn all these things and apply those principles. And what my objective is here is to bring that case alive like it was your own case in your clinic. And for only one here, that would be the case. But for all of you, you're going to learn a lot of principles that when you get chairside with some of your patients, then it's going to look the same. You may have the same problems, and you can see how those problems played out, how we overcame them, and that is, of course, the way of POS teaching. And thank you for all listening, and I'd like to do as much as I can to teach not just what happened in the case, that'd be just flip through the slides quickly, but why it happened and everything that I see sitting here at my chair with nearly 50 years of experience, looking at the same picture, but I see things different than what you see. So I'd like to pass all those things on to you. And let me see here. Let's see, how do I flip the next slide? There it is. I'll do that. Okay, so this is specifically designed around like progressive aligners, which of course was released in the USA in July, just recently, and the others are still waiting. Sorry about that. It's frustrating for us too. Everything's agreed, everything's signed. It's just a matter of, I guess there is more back end work with a computer programmer than I realized. So hopefully we'll get dates soon that you can take part of this. But part of progressive aligners is not just here's some plastic that you can buy, but here's how you can use it, and what are the principles, and why is this the best for you. And so this is what I'm, going to try to do for you. And I firmly believe all these things, so it makes it easy. But it's an amazing time, and this is part of an overall, digital ortho program that is now scheduled to be released January 20th. And so there'll be more things happening between now and January 20th, but January 20th, hopefully you're going to be able to attend some live events that would put all these things together for you. So we've been very pleased with like progressive aligners, and it's been fun. And you know, when everything goes good, it's very much fun. So I am going to be talking about different product lines. So I thought it'd be important first before I start talking about 10, 20, 30, you know, unlimited, all these things. So let me just go through these different product lines, because you're going to have to decide which one you want for each case. And then I'm going to try to lay out the methods that you can predict in advance what these are, and whether or not you're ready to finish in an aligner or not. And then sometimes the patient is saying, I want out of these braces. And if they want out of the braces, they're out, right? But if you aren't satisfied and you want to do more, maybe you can then go into a finishing aligner. So let's start on your right here with the true finishing aligner. That's a unique product of progressive aligners. The idea from myself, actually, I think I could take credit for that. But basically, it's a way to get those braces off, clean up a few problems, and get a retainer included. And so, working with the businessman on this, you get the retainers that you would otherwise have to pay for. You get 1 year warranty. I don't know what that means anyway, because I guess it's over in 1 year. You can't order more aligners, but I mean, most of the time you're going to order 10 stages. I don't think you're going to be able to get under 10. Possible, I guess. And so you would order an extra set, I suppose, but there's no refinements. You see the refinements here, 0. Let's see, let me get this. Let's see, Control P. Let me do that. Collins, is it Control P? Yeah, Control P. Control pen. How come I'm not getting the pen? Oh,
Yeah,
here it is. Okay. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so on this, I want to circle this, because what this means is that some of you that have been using aligners, you'll find out that some patients don't wear them and they lose tracking, and now you have to start over again. Well, that's called a refinement, okay? And so in this particular product, there are no refinements allowed. So you have to, you've got your 10 trays, and they better wear them or forget it, because there's no restarting with a new set of trays and that sort of thing. And if at the end of the 10 trays, if you haven't finished what you intended to do, well, you can't get another set of trays. Okay. Well, you can. You just have to pay another 300, I think it is. So, but on that set of,
Take this with this.
on that product, just
take one is it. Very tasty.
Again, some background again. Okay, so on the finishing aligner, the way that it's set up, and you get a super discount on that if it's intended for those that had used an IP appliance in the beginning. They've decided they either don't have time, don't have the energy, don't like to wire band, but they like to clean up a few things, everything down to closing band space. Then you use some finishing aligners, and I'm going to give you some criteria for that coming up here in this presentation. Okay, how much problem can you resolve in 10 trays after taking brackets off? Okay, and all those little things are, there's something important to each one of those statements. Okay, so I'm going to skip unlimited because that's pretty much for the, for the full case from the beginning. We're talking more about brackets in the beginning in this case, followed by aligners. Okay, and so we are not intending to do an unlimited case for 5 years, unlimited refinements going on. No. That's for the comprehensive case that we're not talking about here. This is a comprehensive case, but we're going to be mixing the brackets with the aligners, and this was diagnosed from the very beginning. Okay, so and even that statement has ways of messing with you. Okay, is this going to be diagnosed in the beginning, or is this an afterthought? Oh, well, patient wants out of braces, so now we're going to go to finishing aligners. And then, of course, you have to end up, well, somebody has to pay, either you or or if you get the patient to do it, has to pay for these extra aligners. Okay, so let's start down here with the 10, progressive 10. That's the same as 10 before, right? It still has no refinements. It still has one set of retainers. Everything's the same here on the progressive 10, except for the price. The price is more, but the price is more because our businessman agreed if you were using IP appliances on your case, you've already paid us for a set of brackets. So we can give you a discount just to make sure that you get done. Okay, this is different. So if you're on there, you've already done that. So I'm not gonna talk about this either. But you could do that if you did not use like progressive POS brackets. Then you could PDS brackets. Then you could use a progressive 10. Okay, so let's focus on the progressive 20, progressive 30, and the hybrid finishing product. These are the 3 products that I want to focus on here in this presentation. Okay, so in the progressive 20 or 30, it's the same. You get the same number of refinements. So that means if you order 20 trays, in this case, it's going to be 30. If you order 30 trays, well, you can order 30 more trays if the patient didn't wear them in the beginning, and you can order another 30 trays, right? Without any additional cost. If the patient loses tracking or whatever, and then you have the same warranty of 3 years. What that means is that you've got up to 3 years to use all these. When you ask for the retainer with these 2 products, when you ask for a retainer, the case is closed. And so if you come back in later and say, hey, I need some more trays, I didn't wear the retainers well enough, well, then you're gonna have to pay more, or the patient's gonna have to pay more. Whereas unlimited, you see, you can reopen the case up to 5 years and get more trays. So there's a lot of people just go simply unlimited, but if you understand these products, then you're gonna be able to make the right decision on a case-by-case basis. And then, of course, one set of retainers on all of these, and so that's included. Okay, it's included. So you get a set of retainers to follow up, and the retainers, of course, are without the attachments on. You've already taken off the attachments. They're a little more rigid material, and more durable for a longer period of time. Okay. All right. So you're going to be unsure. So what you need to do is you choose the product after treatment planning. So you will always check this button down here on the bottom. Always check that. Because you don't know. There may be something there that's going to take a long time to correct. Okay. All right. So, any questions about those? I should be able to. Well, there it goes. Okay. All right. So there's some concepts before we start this particular case example. And so we are trying to establish the protocol for when you would do diagnosis from the beginning. When you're diagnosing, you say, okay, I'm going to diagnose brackets first, followed by a set of aligners. It'll either be 10, 20, or 30, okay? One of those three products. So the protocol for the diagnosis of brackets first. So we're talking that from the very beginning, when the patient is in the chair side, and you're saying, can I use both some brackets for a period of time, followed up by some aligners, or are we going to do this just with aligners? Okay, usually the patient's been asking for aligners, and you say, yeah, well, we got some big rotations, and we're going to be here for a while doing this, and I don't know if you're going to want us be here for 80 or 90 trays. Okay, so part of that is estimating the number of trays, and I'm going to do that with smile stream model measuring. Or at chair side, I'm going to show you how to visually guess how many trays it's going to take, and then how fast do the brackets work on an 012 and an 014 NiTi, and is that going to shorten your case or make it more effective or give the patient the look they want quick, and then you change that over to aligners. I think there's something to be said there. And then we're going to talk about the biology, the periodontal ligament before and after brackets for aligner movements. So what I'm saying is that if you've been moving teeth orthodontically with whatever appliance that you've been using, either an aligner or some brackets and an arch wire, the periodontal ligament does not look the same. Some of you have had a patient come in with a sore tooth, and you take an x-ray, and every tooth needs a root canal, because the periodontal ligament is so wide, and you can't tell whether or not the tooth needs a root canal or not. It's a wasted x-ray. So then you look at it, and you say, well, there's a reason for that. The periodontal ligament has gotten wider, it's gotten all shaken up so that the teeth can move with all of the cellular activity. Now, if you could take off a set of brackets, when those periodontal ligaments are already activated and whatever, you should be able to make greater activations per tray to finish it. And I'm going to talk specifically about that. So, and then of course there's the financial realities of brackets plus aligners. So we want to stay without bands, just brackets. Put some brackets on quick. The typical one here is 5 to 5. Okay, but once in a while we will bond a molar, but it's usually all bonded. We're not doing a little. Okay, I remember in the Aligner Plus series that I took, they were talking about doing little sectionals. Well, I've done some sectionals in my career, and I wasn't too pleased with sectional appliance. The ends of the wires go flying out, and teeth are going every which way, and so I've never been excited about that. But if you go 5 to 5, you pretty much know what's going to happen. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be talking about. Okay. And then you've got the financial realities of, well, I got to buy a set of brackets. These days, that's looking cheap. Put on, but I got to bond them on there. You don't have to worry so much about every little fine detail as far as accuracy. It'd be nice to get accuracy, but part of this protocol means that you're going to be not so worried about repositioning brackets. You're going to put the brackets on there nicely, and then you're going to finish it up with the aligners, okay? But you're not going to be saying, oh my gosh, this is, not quite set right, and I have to go through that whole procedure of repositioning. Okay, so now the repositioning after alignment becomes much less important. And repositioning in finishing with brackets becomes much less important or eliminated, okay? So your time in finishing, your time in repositioning brackets, but you're buying two products, okay? So you have to look at the price of the one plus the price of the other, and then what are you going to charge the patient, okay? How much time you're saving. And then what do the patients want? Well, this comes down to patients really generally don't want brackets. The kids don't care, but the adults definitely don't. And this, of course, the aligner, the aligner, I don't want to call it a fad, but the excitement about aligners as they became more acceptable and we understood how we could move teeth with them. It opened up a whole market of adult patients that used to be ours. Okay, those adult patients the orthodontist didn't want, we were happy to put some brackets on and do it. Now it opens up a whole market of adults that wouldn't accept the brackets, but they'll surely accept aligners. So it definitely adds more as a business of orthodontics. In your office, you need to have all your capabilities to do whatever the patient needs and what they want, okay? So let's move on. Okay, last time I talked about correcting rotations with aligners versus brackets and how that was different. If you missed that at the end of this presentation, you can go look at it at YouTube. I spent a lot of time doing it, but I don't want to do that this time. I just want to remind you that they are different, that brackets do not have the limit of arch enlargement, of advancing, of expansion. They are not limited that way. Whereas an aligner is grabbing onto both sides of that tooth, and unless it's programmed to be expanded, it doesn't expand. Okay? So with the aligners, they are pushing on teeth, but there's something stopping them on the other side. With brackets, the arch wire is just pulling them out for arch enlargement. Okay, pulling them out to what? To the shape of the arch wire. Okay, so so things like with brackets, you don't need to worry about whether or not the contacts are overlapped, whether or not there are like collisions. They're all moving at the same time, and I use the concept of a crowd, and we're trying to get into the concert, and you can't move until other people are moving, or a traffic jam, you can't move until the cars in front of you or to the side of you move. But if everybody moves, we all get there. Okay, so we're going to use that in like progressive aligners as well. So think of it as aligners create a like restriction. If they're not programmed, then you can't move them like that. Okay, so we're going to move all the teeth simultaneously. They're all going to move the same. Okay, so let's get down to specifics. You're at chair side now, and you say, well, let's see here. I've been using aligners. I'm just going to play on you here. I've been using aligners. Now, this is not true, but on this, what happened here? Oh, there it is. Okay. I've been using, let's say, an aligner or not. And you say, well, I have a 9-degree, a 13-degree, and a 12-degree. How did I come up with that? Well, that was the this is, if you look in model measuring, you can look in all the calculations, and relative to the arch wire, it calculates out these are the rotations. Okay, so if I'm looking at 4-3, which is 13 degrees, right? I say, well, can I do that in 13 degrees? How many months is that going to take you in an aligner to do? Since that's the most severe one, right? So you say, okay, 13 degrees, I'm going to tell you to factor this, 1 degree per tray. Now they'll probably program a little bit more than that. Okay, we'll see, and I'll show you how to identify that. But I want you to just in your mind, just go 13 degrees. Now, 13 degrees, I need you to right now look at those rotations and memorize that. At what does 10, let's say, plus or minus 2, what does it look like? It looks like these three. Okay? So your chair side, you say, okay, I see 3 teeth at 10 degrees. They're all going to be moving at the same time. So that's going to probably be at least 10, maybe 12 or 13 aligners. I haven't done model measuring yet. This is how you estimate. And then you say, wait a minute. Is an aligner 100% efficient? No, it's not. It's not. So let's add some for inefficiency. Well, how efficient are aligners? Well, they're somewhere between 50 to 70% efficient. But if you took 10 degrees and added a 3-degree overcorrection, right? That'd be, say, like a 70% efficiency. So you want to add overcorrections to your, to your rotations so that you have a chance of overcoming the inefficiencies. Now, in the IP appliance, I don't know if you know or not, but on the rotation brackets that I designed 20 some years ago, I put in a 4-degree rotation cut into those brackets. I'm still the only one that ever did that. Okay, and it's a 4-degree compensation for the inefficiency of the arch wire in the bracket slot. Do you understand that? There's inefficiency in brackets too. Brackets and arch wires have inefficiencies. And we have generally found that you'll get full correction of rotations if you overcorrect them by 4 degrees in the bracket slot. Okay? And if you don't have it, well, then you probably have bracket error. Okay, so this one started out 13. And this is after 4 months of, looks like an 18 by 25 in there, but it may have just been placed. I'm going to call this a round eye tie, even though I don't remember exactly what it was. Is that overcorrected? Yes, it was a distal rotation. Now it's a mesial rotation. Is that good? Yes, that's good. Okay, this was a 9-degree, and now I will call this one that fully corrected on the lateral incisor. Okay, boom, just like that. 4 months of a round eye tie and an IP appliance with a rotation bracket, you get a full correction, or an overcorrection in this case, which I could probably see more adhesive on the mesial. Actually, this is okay. I see this on my mentor checks, and I don't know why, but it got missed, and I want to clarify it right now. Let me just see if I can't get rid of those lines. No, I can't. Okay. Oh yeah, I can. There it goes. All right. Now I'm going to draw a line looking from the occlusal on those brackets. You see that bracket? The tie wings. The tie wings from the occlusal should be parallel with the incisal edge of that tooth. If they're not, then chances are you've got more adhesive under where? Underneath the mesial tie wing, there's more adhesive under the bonding pad. So when you're placing brackets, please look at another view. I know you're focused on height, you're focused on angulation, but look one more place, and that is from the occlusal, and are these tie wings parallel to the incisal edge? This one is not. Okay, now this one is favorable because it makes an overcorrection. An overcorrection is not bad. An undercorrection is what is generally done using a Roth appliance. And then, of course, that goes all the way into retention, where the teeth all of a sudden show up as being crowded again because they were never fully corrected in the first place. Okay, so let's look over here on this one. This is a 12-degree bicuspid rotation. Now, for you to straighten that with a liner, you first have to kind of make space, and then you can kind of push it in there. Okay, but I can still tell you to figure 1 degree per tray for a rotation. So I'd say, okay, you can do this in approximately 12 trays, plus maybe another 4 for overcorrection. So 16 trays, right? And I'll ask for 4 degrees overcorrection in my instructions. Okay. Let's go to the next one. We have other examples here. Well, if I can get there. Okay, here we go. How about this one? Now the patient is looking at rotated teeth in the front. And if you looked at model measuring, you'd say there's an 11-degree right there. So you say, all right, I can probably fix you, and let's see, 11 plus some overcorrection, plus I add some refinement trays. Okay, so I'm going 11 plus 4 plus 15, and then just by principle, I say, okay, another 10 trays just for like refinement. 15, that's 25 trays. Okay, do you understand how I do that? So if that's 25 trays, and they change the tray every 2 weeks, well, that's going to be a year, isn't it? Yes, it's going to be a year. Okay, well, my head's not all there. Okay, so that's going to be a year. All right, now if they can change them every week, now you're getting done in half that time, 6 months. So what's the difference between somebody that can change their trays every 2 weeks and somebody that can change their trays every week? Well, that has to do with how many hours they put in. It's very simple. So the one that can change it once a week, okay, in this product, okay, I'm not talking about some of the others now, Clear Corrects and stuff like that. No, I'm talking this product, specifically this product, okay? So you can change those trays a week at the 1 degree per per tray to correct rotations. Okay, so if that'd be a 6-month job if they were a great patient. If they weren't such a great patient and they wore the trays whenever they thought they should wear the trays and wherever they wanted to wear the trays, well, then it's going to take them a year. And they can't change the tray at 1 week. If they do, and they change them at 1 week, but they didn't wear them enough, then they lose tracking. It's real simple. Whereas if I put some brackets on in 4 months, they'll see they're all straight. See, 4 months. If they change them once a week, then those then they might get done in 6 months, right? So now I'm showing you on this case, 4 months, it got done, 100% done. Actually, I can see one overcorrection. 100% done in 4 months. Not 6, which would be the best that you could expect with a liner. Not 12, if somebody turned out to be one of those that only wears a part of the time, and you struggle trying to get through your trays, and they're losing tracking and this and that. Okay, teeth move best when they have a continuous force consistent with the periodontal ligament, and not taking it off and forgetting to put it back on or whatever. Okay, teeth move most efficiently with a consistent force. Well, you can't take the brackets off, so they get consistent force with these nice light force round knife ties. Okay, and this is what you can expect. Okay, now we got a lot of variables here. So when I show you more of these trays, I want you to be thinking of the variables because these are all from different practitioners. These are not my VIPs that I know what they're doing. This is just, picking teeth that are random. So the age of the patient. Well, the starting point on a young patient has a periodontal ligament that's already widened, that is already ready for the teeth to move, and there's no delay. And you know that from treating children versus adults. Okay, so if I start with an adult, you can't expect to see tooth movement for the first month. I tell them, don't keep looking in the mirror because you're going to be disappointed. Your teeth aren't going to move for a month. And then they come back and they say, oh, my teeth did move for a month. I go, oh, wow, terrific, But don't set their expectations that they're going to have their teeth move quickly. It takes time to get the biology into the periodontal ligament and the right cells and get it all moving and bones remodeling and that whole thing. Apposition. And then we have our tie wires. And sometimes I've started on this bracket first stuff on an 18 by 25 as the first wire. You say, when will you do that? Well, we had nearly straight teeth on the upper and we were looking for torque. So what's the difference between between an aligner versus a bracket? The strengths of a bracket in the IP system is rotation and torque. We have variable torque, we have rotation brackets, okay? Where the aligner is a little weak in those areas, okay? Yes, we are able to rotate teeth. As fast as with brackets? No. But wait a minute, as fast as with brackets, that means several things. The age of the patient, the size of the wire you use. Now the smaller diameter wire, the 12 niti, per a unit of like deflection will be the least force that's going to be applied. And I remember the first time I felt 012 niti, I said, this is going to move to you. Just isn't going to move. It did. It moved more efficiently than the 016 niti I was using previously. 014 niti seems to be a very good for moderate rotation. So you use your 012 niti for severe rotations. 014 niti, I'm using more of that as your first wire in your cases. 016 niti, well, when I put that in there, I'm thinking, let's get rid of a wire change. Okay, that where we have to take the wire out, you just progressively activate that in there. Okay, in my career, I remember the first time I had 016 niti. Before that, it was all stainless steel, and I couldn't believe it. Of course, it was called break-and-all in those days, but anyway, that's what it was. Now, alloy and properties of the material are different. So everything that you're going to see here in these cases is done with PDS brand use type of materials. If you want to get the same thing in these cases, then you have to use the same material. If you use something else, I don't know. I don't have the experience in it. I don't have a document. But everybody uses in POS what I used to use, so they could duplicate what they saw in the slides. Okay, so what you're going to see here is PDS brand, 012 niti, 014 niti. You say, well, that's the same everywhere. No, it's not. In fact, one manufacturer makes all these things. Actually, I think there's two in the world, all the nitis, and everybody else just sticks their label on it, including us. And they really can't do the same thing from one company to the other. So I'm very happy with our materials. Actually, 18 by 25 niti was so amazing when I got it. I said, "What's going on here? This wire is amazing." And I think it was because nobody else wanted it. You didn't have to buy another one, you know. So all these big companies that want you to buy more, well, they didn't want that wire. I said, I want it. Oh my God, that's been amazing. Okay, so the bracket design. I'm going to use IP rotation brackets. So when you're looking, I can tell you that with rotation brackets, we get faster rotation correction than if we don't have rotation brackets. I know that for sure because I used Roth appliance for years without any rotation features. I know how fast the teeth move and how fast they move when you got rotation brackets. So you have to factor that in, okay? And then we are also using variable torque. Now, here we're not worried so much about torque because we're going to be, in most of our cases, throwing some round niti at it and following it up with a liner. But I told you, some cases, you have a big deep bite, and you don't have that much crowding. I've started with a 18 by 25 right away, or even a 16 niti with a little coil between 2 and 3, you know, and that kind of proclines the upper incisors, torques them, and then we can close that space later with the aligner. Okay, on our deep bite cases with very retroclined upper incisors, no space on the lower. Oh, and then they like deflection of the wire. Now, when I look at the mentoring cases, I rarely see rotation ties. Rotation ties are just the mesial or distal tie wing at the point that it is most deflected, tighten that down, and that's how I personally do it. And with that, I get the fastest. Now, fortunately, I'm not the one doing these cases. So some of them have been just using elastomerics. And that might be okay with an 012 niti, but it's not with an 014 or 016. You have to deflect those. And the ones where you have deflections, you need to hold that deflection. and I hold them with a rotation tie. But because the 4 tie wing tie is looser, doesn't hold the deflection as well. So there is a variable when you're looking at these. Say, hey, I straightened the teeth in 4 months. Oh, okay. Well, what'd you use? You use elastomerics, or did you use one person deflects the wire more than the other person? Like usually, I like to see on my mentor checks. I want to see the arch wire in there because I want to see if the wire is deflected or not. And there is a variable there. Some people, they think just putting the arch wire in there in the mouth somewhere, that's enough. No, you got to push it all the way into the bracket slot. You have to secure that deflection. And then the reactivation schedule. Some people think that at 1 month, you have to untie everything and retie it all together. No. You look and see if there's anything loose, and you replace that tie. Unless it's elastomerics, then you have to change all the elastomerics. But me, if I do good steel ties, I found out teeth move faster if I didn't see them every month. If I saw them every 8 weeks, the teeth move faster. So we were overactivating the appliance. So I was a proponent of longer times between appointments. Now, after COVID, nobody wants to go anywhere anymore. So this might be more important. Now, in general, in our POS family, they wanted to see them every month so that the patient felt that they were being taken care of. And number 2, that they could pay their money for that month. Okay. So there was resistance to that. Okay, so let's look at a few more cases. So could you see this in 3 months of aligners, 12 trays, changing 4 times a month, 3 degrees per tray, programming at 57. Wait a minute, what are you talking about? I'm talking about this 36-degree rotation in 3 months getting corrected. 36 degrees in 3 months is corrected. Now, wait a minute. That's like 12 degrees a month with an arch wire. You see the brackets there on a custom. And you say 3 degrees a month. I mean, like we're talking 4 degrees a month. Now we're looking at 12 degrees a month. We're looking at 3 times faster. Okay. Now this one didn't get corrected, right? Why? Well, is that tie wing parallel with the incisal edge? No. Adhesive wedge. See the extra adhesive right here? Right there. Okay. And this one looks at least fully corrected, if not overcorrected. 3 months, 36 degrees. This is what you can see. So if you want faster treatment, if the patient wants faster treatment, you say, well, let me use some brackets for 3 months. Let me get some of the hard work out of this. Okay, how about this one? 3 months, 0-4 NITI at age 19. Now, age is important, right? So you fix the crossbite. The bite's a little open. Because why? Because teeth go forward, right? They advance. It opens the bite. And maybe the lateral incisors are in contact with the lower teeth. So 3 months, 0-4 NITI, go from there to there. Are you ready for aligners? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Now we can move on with the aligners that you want. And now you're not looking at a whole lot of time trying to make space and get these lateral incisors out. Now, have I torqued the root forward? No. But I've sure got rid of a bunch of rotations, right? All right, this one, 5 months in 0-2 NiTi. Now 0-2 NiTi is supposed to be corrected, supposed to only last for 4 months, and then it gets permanently deflected. Permanently deformed. So this one was a 35-degree rotation on a lateral incisor, which lateral incisors are more difficult for aligners. These are smaller teeth. And where is this? Oh, here it is. There it is down here. 35 degrees. So would you, at chair side now, would you be able to call that as 35 degrees? Well, you say, see, there's an imaginary arch wire here. And then you're measuring, right? Is that approximately 30, 35 degrees? Yes. So you say, well, let's see, 35 degrees at 1 degree per tray. That's 35 trays plus 4 degrees over rotation. That's 39 plus 10 degrees, 10 trays for refinement. That's 49. And you can do that if you wear those trays every 2 weeks. If you change your tray every 2 weeks, then you've got 25 months ahead of you. If you can change them once a week, you got half of that, a year. So I will tell them you got somewhere between 12 and 24 months. They go, well, that's a pretty big variation. You say, yeah, because you're the one that has to put it back in. With brackets, I know how long I can do this in 5 months. You give me some brackets and a wire, I can do this quickly and then move on. Okay, you get it? Here's another case, age 45. 0-2 NiTi, 5 months. All right, so you say, well, let's see, these bicuspids, you see the lower 5s here? The brackets did not get put on like, in the right place. So they're still mesial rotated, aren't they? So after 5 months of 0-2 NiTi, you say, well, I still got a big rotation on 3-5, so that's still going to take me quite a while. But this could be, well, should I reposition that bracket? Or should I just wait? At the end, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fix this this rotation down here. I'm going to fix that. Should I reposition that bracket for the next arch wire as I'm going through the wire progression? Right? You say, well, I'm going to finish in aligners, so you know what? Maybe I can do that in the aligners. Well, how much of an angle is that? What do you think? I don't know exactly. What do you think? Give me a guess. 10 or 15 degrees compared to what? Compared to the arch wire, right? Okay, 10 to 15 degrees. Well, I'm going to tell you that in a 10 tray, the finishing aligner, 15 degrees is about all you can do. So you have to be within 15 degrees on the rotations that you didn't fix the bracket. So this is about as far as I think you can go here. If you're going to go finishing aligners, you're at risk to get into a 20 tray product from the 10 tray product. But you can move teeth faster. And that's why I said 10 trays, 15 degrees. I'm figuring an extra 50%. because the periodontal ligament's already activated. So I'm thinking you can go 1.5 degree per tray to give you 10 trays of 15 degrees. Are you following the math? So this one, you could get it done. You don't have to reposition the bracket. You could do it later. This one, where the bracket's too far the other way, and it's undercorrected just a rotation, well, that's definitely within the range. No problem. Okay, that's only maybe 4 or 5 degrees. Okay, are you starting to get it with me? Okay, here's another case. 012 nai tie and 18 by 25 nai tie was put in after 6 months. Now, wait a minute, 012 nai tie is only supposed to go for 4 months. What's this 6-month stuff? Okay, well, okay, let's stretch that. Yeah, let's not change the wire. Let's see how far it'll go. Okay, so it went well, and now of course the 18 by 25 nai tie is going to bring that root forward, right? Right out of crossbite. How long would that take you with an aligner? This. How long would that take you with an aligner? Now, that's going to take you some time. I would probably say that's going to take you 8 to 12 months to get to here. And it's done in 6. Half the time. Okay? So, you don't have to. You can do it with an aligner. But maybe you want to let me just put one little wire and a few brackets. That can be 5 to 5. How about this one? Say, okay, this is 2 months of leveling 012 nai tie. After that 2 months changed into 1825. So going from here with this lots of wire deflection with only elastomeric ties. Oh, wait a minute. No, I see some steel ties underneath there. Right? Boom, just like that. How is extrusion with aligners? Extrusion of what? Extrusion of this cuspid. Extrusion is not one of the strong points of aligners. Let's put it that way. It's not one of the strong points. Rotations, torque, extrusion. Not one of the, and also second molars. Second molars, the end of the tray, not as effective. Okay, so so this was just in 2 months. You say, well, gee, if I could do some of that leveling, I'm in. Key tooth estimate for treatment time, just smile stream measuring. Okay, so this is 3-1. Wait a minute. Wait a minute here. Looks like 4-1. This looks like the 41. Okay, smile stream sometimes does not measure correctly, but that looks like a 30 degree, right? Or a 40 degree. 1-4, 33. Oh yeah, that one here. Okay, that's over 30, right? So you're looking for key teeth, the key tooth in the arch. I introduced you to that concept last time. The key tooth. What's the one that's going to take the most to move? And especially in the front. You can't leave that lower incisor looking like that. You might get away with a partial correction of the bicuspid. Okay, so finishing aligners, 10 trays, no refinements. And I'm going to tell you this. Oh, sorry. You can purchase for another $300 another set of 10 trays. I've been told. So I wrote down. Whereas with a 20 tray, you get 2 refinements. So if the patient doesn't wear them exactly right, or you want more, you can do it again. All right, so oh. So that's one product. Now, what did I just said? I said 15-degree rotation, right? I'm having to write with the mouse. Okay. Well, like a 15-degree rotation. Okay, so let's keep going. Intrusion or extrusion in 10 trays, 1 millimeter. So if you're working on a deep bite and you're hoping to level that curve of speed, well, you could extrude the bicuspids and intrude the incisors 1 millimeter. It'll make a difference. But you need more trays to really level. You need more trays, okay, than 10. But this is when they're already active. This is following brackets, okay? So I'm going to tell you that. And then I'm going to tell you class 2, mainly elastics or something, maybe 2 millimeters, okay? Maybe 1 to 2 millimeters with elastics, right? Put some buttons on there, run some rubber bands, and with each tray, since you can start elastics with the first tray, assuming there's overjet, right? Assuming there's overjet, then you might be able to get 1 or 2 millimeters of class 2 corrected. And there was a case I did last week that had a functional shift. Oh, aligners are really good for functional shifts. And the dentist had pretty much given up on it. I said, don't give up on this. This, you know, I could see the problem. It was a lower second molar on one side. We'll push that down. We'll use some rubber bands, and I'll bet you can fix that functional shift. And it was about, I think he was into a 20 product. Yeah. Okay, so we talked about a patient that wears it in 1 week tray change versus 2 weeks tray change. Because this idea of telling all patients to change your trays in 2 weeks or change the trays in 1 week it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work. It depends, because one patient wears it more than the other patient, and so it doesn't work. So what you need to do is make it more patient specific. So I've got a couple of methods here for you to make it more patient specific. So this is the free way. All you have to do is educate the patient, okay? So you educate the patient what the tray should look like when it's fully seated on the teeth. So you see, so you show them, you see how thick that is? Well, you shouldn't see any bubble between the tooth and the tray underneath there. The tooth should be fully into that tray. Okay, you say it both ways. The tray fully on the teeth fully in the tray. Okay, got to push it in there. And this must always be maintained. And then they use their little chewies, to push the tray down onto the teeth to get them fully engaged. Now, the patient, when they take out the tray to eat and they put the tray back in, there is a feeling, and it's tight, which means that it's still active. You see, okay. Let me just explain something. I'm sorry for those of you that already know how this works. The computer takes a scan and it says we're going to move this tooth a millimeter. And so it takes 10 different slices and it moves that tooth like a 1/10 of a millimeter. And then a new set of 3D models are made. And then the next step, another 1/10 of a millimeter, another set of 3D models are made. And then the next step, another set of 3D models are made. And then on each one of those 3D models, you make a tray. So the activation of the tooth movement is 0.1 millimeter per tray. And that's also, so you're going to be thinking 1 degree and 1.1, I'm sorry, 0.1 millimeter per tray when you're calculating, when you're estimating. Okay? Got it? So if I've got to move that upper lateral incisor 3 millimeters forward, well, you say that's 30 trays, right? Okay. So if the patient puts the trays back in and they feel tight, then they're still active. If they don't feel tight, if they feel loose, then they're not active anymore. And it's time to go to the next tray. So they can visually see that it's fully seated everywhere around. Then when they put the tray back in, does it feel tight? If it feels loose, they can go to the next tray, but no faster than every 7 days. So now the patient takes responsibility for the progress in the case, does not look at you and say, hey, your trays aren't working. Does not say, how fast am I going to get done? You say, well, that's up to you. You have to wear the trays. I'm not wearing the trays for you, so it's up to you. Now you're an advisor. Say, I'm just here to advise you on how to get to the endpoint that you want to get. I'll actually show you the endpoint. This is the endpoint right here on the computer. And it's going to look very similar to that. But you have to wear the trays. You have to move the teeth to that point, not me. I don't move the teeth. Where the brackets, you see, it's like, well, we're kind of responsible. They're not doing anything except brushing them. Okay, so the patient now takes responsibility. So you could give them 4 or even 6 trays, especially somebody that is, traveling a long distance or has to be taken out of school. And I don't know, some of you I'm sure have to get your kid over to the dentist, and that's annoying. So you give them 4 or 6 trays and say, when you get the 3rd tray fully seated, call for an appointment. I don't want to see you here when the tray is not fully seated. There's nothing for me to say except shame on you. You didn't wear your trays. I don't like doing that. So when the trays are fully seated, you can come in and keep all the previous trays in case I make you take a step back. Okay, here's the fancy way of doing what I just described, because their treatment time is dependent on how fast they can change the trays, right? So here's the fancy way. Of course, orthodontists have done this now for years to where they don't want to practice without it because it enables them to work less. Wait a minute. Yes. So somebody put on a thing here, Lee, that yes, there is a recording and you can see it later. Yes, go see patients. Okay. So the dental monitoring, it's been around for a long time. I don't know how, what's a long time. Okay. So what this is about is the patient taking pictures at home using their phone, and then it being put into software that's going to track how their teeth are moving or not moving, and when it's time to change your tray. So can you imagine some really good patient that is a young patient that has a big periodontal ligament to start with, and they could change their trays every 5 days or 3 days? Yeah, I think that's possible. But then you have the no-go. They say, no, this is a no-go. You can't change it yet. Okay? So it says here, this is the current aligner number, 15. Okay, and then so they've taken 84 scans on time. So they do it once a week. Okay, they're taking a whole bunch of scans, pictures that are turned into digital, which are then compared with the previous pictures. Now it's if you want to work less, if you don't want to see patients in there until they are ready to be seen, less patients in the office, less days at work. It's up to you. Okay. Now, in the Progressive Advantage, Miles McGann has made a deal with these people. Now, the typical offering, which usually cut out all general dentists, was the setup fee was $6,400 for their practice, and everybody went, ha, nice, but I don't have a spare. If I had $6,400, I wouldn't buy this. So, and they got 48 scan boxes. That's what you give the patient. This has got the thing that you put your phone into, and it guides you through the process. Okay, and then they paid $20 a month. So your typical 24-month case would be $480 a case. So the total typical case would be $550 plus your setup fee. Okay, well, most general dentists are not, but we're like a general dentist company. So Miles McGann gets to work, no setup fee. Now there's not even a 2-day seminar. Review video tutorials. Centralized monitoring, so you don't have to monitor these pictures. The centralized monitoring, that's being done in India with our POS dentists in India. And they can get things done a lot less expensive, and then they alert you to any problems they see. Okay? Flat fee per patient. So if you're not using progressive aligner, or you're not using the IP appliance, then it's $305. If you're using either of those other two and you use it for brackets also, then it's $230. Can you get the patient to pay for that? My suggestion after discussing with Miles is, oh, by the way, it is $70 per scan box. Okay, that's for the patient. So it costs you $70 for that. Costs you $230 for the monitoring, and so a total of $300. Okay, for either brackets or aligners. So you offer the patient as an option. If you don't want to have to come in here as many times, if you don't like coming in here once a month and dragging your kid out of school, then maybe you want to consider dental monitoring. And this enables us to monitor you on a weekly basis. You get even more attention because what you can see, we can see. And it's only $500 to you. Now, some people are going to say, I live right across the street from you. I like coming to the dentist's office. The other one is going to say, I don't like taking off work and going down to my kid's school to drag them off to, to get them to the dentist appointment on time. Absolutely. Are you kidding? 24 times with that? Or you there is a POS dentist that is in France. And he's an instructor, and he's been doing this for years. And he's got cases where they were bracket cases, and he saw them twice in the whole treatment. And they felt that he was monitoring me even closer, because if you want, they've got all these letters that are already written for you. All you do is hit the button and it sends a letter. Hey, you're doing great. Thanks for sending in the monitoring. So they know you're looking. You can have your staff do it, or they'll do it from India. They'll never know. Okay. Is it here now? No, it's not here now. This is coming. There's so many details. It's probably October when it's going to be released. Okay. So this will be available to you. You're getting advance notice in about a month. Okay. In other words, this is part of our overall everything. It's like unbelievable. But this is optional. You don't have to do it. Okay. Okay, so the patient scans the mouth. They got their phone in there. It tells them verbally, open your mouth more, close your teeth together, move it to the side. It actually directs them on each picture. And then certain scans get flagged as they're reviewed, and they say, your teeth are moving great, or no, they're not, and it's not time to change the tray, or it is. So why dental monitoring? I just got through telling you that if a patient changes their tray every 2 weeks, it's going to take them twice as long as if they change it every 1 week. So it's in everybody's benefit if that patient now knows that they can not only see it, but this dental monitoring thing tells them when it's time to change the tray. Well, I better get busy and wear my trays, because you're not getting done. You can't change the tray. You can't even schedule an appointment until you've got your trays done. Then come see us. Okay? Now, that's a more accurate way of doing it. So you may be able to see the patient every 6 months. Would that be something? But actually, you could look at any time and you could see where their teeth are now, and you could send them a letter if you want. Brackets, you don't have them do it every week. You have them do it every 2 weeks, according to Jacques. And this avoids the overactivation. I just got through telling you. Should we see them at 4 weeks, or should we see them at 8 weeks to tighten that wire? If the teeth are still moving, it's not ready. Don't come in. Wait till the teeth stop moving, then come in. Okay? So now you could tell them on their bracket case, this will tell you when you have to make an appointment. Can I use the scan box for Android or iPhone? Yes. Does the patient need to download the app? Yes. It's on their phone. Is the app going to have any HIPAA issue? They've already dealt with that. Who's going to take care of those consent raised with a scan box? I don't know. They've already taken care of all that. This is just plugging into a system that's already been done. Okay? For years. And probably your local orthodontist, Kelly, right down the street's been using it. Very popular in the orthodontist. So this is like Kelly Wong, our VIP of the day. Thank you for showing the records you're going to see next from her practice. Now, all my VIPs have a different skill set, a different education set. So I want you to understand where this is coming from, okay? This is not me doing the work. This is me saying, do this, do that, change wire, do this, do that, okay? So, so Kelly did the 48-day traditional ortho in California, and then she did 32 consulting or mentor cases with McGann as of August of 23. Okay, so, and she's recognized in the Korean American magazine, and she says she's a beginner. A beginner? This isn't what I would call a beginner. A beginning in ortho. I do not have many cases because I also just general dentistry. I've done 60 to 70 cases. That's not a beginner, okay? 60 to 70 cases, I think you've gone beyond beginner, okay? So so thank you. Thank you, Kelly, for sharing with us. Without you, I couldn't do this, okay? So this patient's also like the concept of not wearing metal wire and brackets. Okay, so she's been getting into aligners. No, there's no aligner plus here. She just started doing it with me. Okay, so here's our patient. He's got a blocked out lateral, like canine that's out there. And we're giving you experience here. So think of it, you've seen a case just like this come into your practice, right? So what are you going to do? His chief complaint is crowding. I look at here and I go, hey, what a nice bite. Everything looks pretty good. I have a crown up here, which a crown means to me. Well, I probably can't put an attachment on there. If I do, there's a risk of falling off. I've got this cross bite. That's going to be the key tooth right there, right? We have to figure out how long it's going to take to do that. Well, we have some other key teeth here. We have some other key teeth. So if you're going to do, and he's asking for aligners, he wanted aligners, okay? All right. Is this tooth, let's focus on this key tooth up here. Is this key tooth 1, 2, and a crossbite, has a worn incisal edge. He's been chewing on it some strange way. Is it rotated? Not very much, right? So like rotation is not the issue here. How far from the incisal edge is it to get it out to this spot? Just take a guess. 5 millimeters? Okay. How about from the gingiva, from the root of this tooth to go to the arch wire? How far is that? Not very far, right? A little, maybe a millimeter or 2. This movement to push the incisal edge forward, to tip the tooth forward, goes very rapidly. The movement to move the root forward goes less rapidly. Okay, so right now, if I'm looking at this, I go, well, let's see, we got to make space here for this to come in with an aligner. I got a rotation on this canine. That looks like it's about 20, 30 degrees. I'm going to tell this patient that's going to take at least 40 trays probably to fix that. Okay, let's look at this down here. Now you'll get to see this, okay? You'll get to see this. So here's a key tooth right here. See that rotation? How far is that rotated? Well, let's see. If I take an arch wire and go along like that, that's probably what, 20, 25 degrees, maybe something like that. Okay, so this to take, so we're still under the 40 tray, estimate up here of this key tooth. Okay, so you'd say 40 trays. You want to wear them good. You get done in 20 months. If you don't, or you might get done in maybe a year. Up to you. How disciplined are you? And then you have to identify if you don't want attachments or teeth that can't move. If you don't want attachments, you should tell them that when you and there might be some fillings on the buccal on the molars that you don't want to replace. Or if there's implants, you can't move the tooth at all. Okay, so this is the IP appliance. This is SmileStream. We haven't chosen the appliance yet. This is SmileStream, and we're trying to figure out where's this tooth going. So he starts like over here, which is, these days I use widths. Widths is A point to the occlusal plane and B point to the occlusal plane. This was plus 2.2. Skeletal class 1 is 0 plus or minus 1. Okay, easy to remember. So we're looking at a little bit of a skeletal class 2 case, but probably not important here. If we straighten his teeth with an arch wire to maintain, which was large square, his front teeth go forward. Agreed? And they go forward quite a bit, and the bite opens. Agreed? All right. So if then I use an expanded, in this case, I use the non-extraction number 1, and I can see some expansion down here. I say, well, okay, give me 2 millimeters per side at the first bicuspids, right? Give me 2 millimeters a side, and then coordinate everything. And with the like progressive aligner people, they'll do that. Okay, you don't have to be any more specific than that. And you say yes, you can use IPR. Okay, and you could reduce the incisor advancement. Okay, so this is with expansion and IPR 3 millimeters upper and lower. Extraction of pores is a legitimate treatment option, and it's important for you to list that you did consider this treatment option, and that you decided that everything considered, you wanted to go another way. You wanted to go non-extraction. With aligners, I'll just say it again. If you go by cuspid extraction, please use brackets. Only do non-extraction aligners, and you'll be happy. Okay. If you want to do some extraction case someday, then do it with a mentor. Okay, but even then, use some brackets, close the extraction space, then change to aligners. Okay. Key tooth. Key tooth, in this case, with tooth number 4-4, at a 26-degree rotation. That's 26 trays, plus 4 degree, that's 30, plus a 10-degree refinement, that's 40 trays. Okay, so I quoted you could maybe get done in 10 to 20 months. Estimated time of treatment, tooth 1-2. I measured this. This was 7 millimeters. And if you go at 0.1 millimeter per tray, times 7 is 70 trays. Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. You want to go through 70 trays to get this guy what he wants, or even 40 trays to get this guy what he wants. Okay. So we're going to use the patient determines the tray, system responsibility. And you say, well, wait a minute, 70 trays, that's too many trays. It depends on how fast you activate the, the setup. When they are doing the computer work, do they go 0.1 millimeter and 1 millimeter and 1 degree per rotation and 0.1 millimeter per lineal movement? Or are they doing double that or triple that? So whatever you are using, you should be able to identify how fast they're moving the teeth and if they're moving them too fast. And you can't just play the video and see it go and say, oh, that's too fast. Okay. As some companies, I think they don't want you to know because they're moving teeth too fast. And that's why you have troubles with tracking. Okay. So the problem is not too many trays. The problem is you have lots of trays, but the patient isn't able to change to the next tray fast enough because they're not wearing them. Okay. So you want to use a material that's the best. I can tell you this material is fantastic that you will use in the progressive aligners, and the problem is too few of trays with activations that are too severe. And if the trays are too many trays in the setup, you should consider using brackets first to reduce treatment time. So here's your protocol, right? Okay, I ask people, it's okay if you have to leave. I realize I don't know how much time I spent, but it's okay. Hour and a half. I was figuring 2 hours, but I don't know here. I got too much to say. Okay, brackets 5 to 5 was used upper and lower. Okay, so let's go. There it is. We're putting the brackets on. 12 to 18 months was quoted to the patient. And it's going to be a combination of aligner and brackets. Okay. So let's see. Let's see. So he had small teeth. That's important with aligners, with severe crowding. It's hard for him to wear a liner. So I asked him to use a bracket system first, then move to aligners. He initially wanted to have aligners only, but the time frame I gave him and explained why wire aligner would be a better option to start with, he accepted my treatment plan. Okay, so this was diagnosed as brackets first, aligners second from the beginning. I'm very excited to see the progression change. And she's happy to see another happy patient. Happy patients make happy doctors, right? So step one in the treatment plan, this is the treatment plan. Bond 5 to 5, upper and lower, align 0-2 NiTi 5 to 5 for 3 months. If the patient's biting the lower teeth on bracket 1-2, then bond composite. So on the lateral, that's in that deep bite. If the lower bracket is biting, if the bracket on the tooth is biting the lower teeth, then that's when you use composite to separate the teeth. Okay. Other than that, it's okay. It'll go across. Let's see. Bend the wire in just little 5 brackets. So if you're only going to go 5-5, you can't just leave it open there because it'll poke them. Okay. Got to bend it in a little. Change to 0-4 NiTi upper and lower to finish alignment, and then do a mentor check. Send photos, IO scan, and check before changing to 18 by 25 or clear aligners. Now, looking back at it, she would have saved some trays if she had engaged 18 by 25 NiTi. But, and would save some trays if we had included the molars. Okay, but this is what happened. So here it is. First month, bond 5 to 5, NiTi open coils, right? We have for these 2 teeth, and looks like, I don't know why this is activated already, but oh, that was at 1 month. She just like squeezed on the little hook, and then so here it goes right here, huh? NiTi open coils plus 3 millimeters. Only thing I can say is you might have put a little like steel tie to the middle of that coil and deflected it. That's about it. Looks really nice work, clean work, nice deflection of the wire. She's holding the like deflections with what? With elastomeric ties. So this is one of the variables is being held, the 012 die tie with elastomeric ties, and the 012 die tie is holding the coils too. So again, you could put another lig tie to the middle of that coil from the bracket of any design, just deflect the wire. Okay, now it's deflected. Came back, 014 die tie already, right? 014 die tie gets deflected pretty well too. Okay, how's that look? 4 months, they took the brackets off. And he is a very happy patient already. He got what he wanted quickly. Got his front teeth straight, as far as they're concerned. Now, we see things that we'd like to do, but as far as the patient's concerned, he got done quickly, 4 months. Okay? So now it's on to aligners. And I'll tell you this, it's off for the races. Why is it off for the races? Because these teeth are already prepared, ready to go. They get the aligner in there, start moving the teeth right away, because the periodontal ligament is active from 5 to 5, not from 7 to 7, 5 to 5. Okay. All right. So we avoided this crown with the brackets. Oh, let's see. Can you see the periodontal ligaments here now? I think I'm going to have one to compare later on. You can see widened periodontal ligaments. So here's the Ceph comparison. Does front teeth go forward? As expected? Yes. This is what we had thought it was going to happen. And did it happen? Yes. Was he upset? No. He got his teeth straight. Okay, now we're going to go into finishing aligner concepts. Okay. Now we've got shaken up teeth, but we've taken care of all those major problems. And now we got a whole nother set of things that we can do. Remove brackets, finishing aligners, and when you remove the brackets, you have to put on immediately, same day, some type of like retainer. If you have a vacuum form in the back, that's good enough. You don't have to have BioStar for this. Be nice if you have a BioStar, but if you don't, it's okay. Okay. It's okay if they move a little bit, okay, because when you get it back, you just want that tray to fit, that's all. And there's time. Getting the tray, getting it approved, shipping, get it to you. So there's time there. So we're off to the races. Try to get it done quickly as possible. So the patient's requesting removal of brackets would be a reason to do all this. Avoid arch wire bending. I know it's time consuming just to figure out what to do, and then to bend the wire takes skill. This takes much less skill. All you have to do is be able to identify what you want. And then I already told you, 15-degree rotation. Oh, I think I told you 1.0. This one says, go by this, 1.5 millimeter extrusion or intrusion. Okay. And the periodontal ligament is widened. That's key. Okay. You're not starting from the beginning. And then this could be with aligner plus, you went through aligners and then you cleaned up what the aligners didn't do. With PA aligners, we don't have that. So the aligners pretty much do everything. we haven't had hardly any cases where we've had to put brackets on to finish it, okay? Almost everybody says, no, just give me another set of trays. Don't give me brackets. So, but this one, you're going the opposite direction. You're the brackets first, aligner second. Let's see. And then, of course, okay, so here we are. Start was not very clear. Sorry about that. But I think you can see that the periodontal ligaments are widened. That's major. That means that you can activate more per tray. And in a finishing aligner, do you want to make all these wire bends, or do you want to just hand them a tray and say wear it, all right? But you have to describe. I need you to rotate this tooth distal so many, and overcorrect. Okay, so in the actual submission instructions on this case, you told them there's a crown and no attachment there. Brackets have been recently removed. This is your instructions. Tooth movements, activations per stage can be increased. Now, I usually tell them can be increased 50%. Okay? That's what I tell them today. Now, whether or not they do that or not, I'm not sure that they actually do, but they can. Okay. They're learning from us too. Apply attachments and IPR as needed at stage 1. In other words, you want these teeth moving right now. You don't want to wait for tray 3 before you add attachments and start really doing any movement. No, you want them on right now. Right now, if there's IPR, let's make the space now. If the teeth are still crowded, which they shouldn't be, otherwise, you already fixed that. But you could always use like single-sided strips. And then I told them the upper midline centered, correct rotations without collision. Of course, I don't think I have to say it anymore. Until 4 degrees over correction on these teeth. Attachments needed. All attachments with gingival bevels, overbite and overjet 2 millimeters. Okay, pretty simple instructions for the PA aligner. Okay. Okay, so this is what we get back. 21 trays. 21 trays, and they've got a bunch of IPR in the lower. Now you'll see the Bolton on this shows that there's excess tooth mass on the upper. But anyway, this was the lower to make the teeth fit and probably to reduce the incisor advancement. And remember, we did move his front teeth forward in the brackets. So the superimposition, can you see that the front teeth on the lower are going back? They're going to the side for the midline. The gray's the start, the white's the end. So you go back on the lower teeth. You're going in on this canine. You're going out a bit on that canine. You're expanding on these upper bicuspids. This is using the superimposition tool. You are expanding on the molar. Now remember, we didn't have brackets on the molar. Okay. And this was the BTO of what we thought we'd get. Okay, so I'm going to change to, we're going to go right to this. caught it. Sorry. There we go. Okay, we're back again. Okay, so now what I have is this patient. This is the this is it in the software. Exactly what you see right there. Okay. Now this is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the tools that I use when I'm evaluating these cases. We got some wonderful tools. Okay, but you got to know how to use them. So let's start up here. Case history. That tells me not what the original instructions were. It tells me what was done on modification of plan number 1 to get to plan 2. Okay? And this was customization by Amit Lala. And we can't tell what he did, to tell you the truth. It tells you what teeth he moved, but it doesn't tell you how he moved it. Case data will tell you not only the initial instructions, but if you want to see the original prescription without having to look it up, it would be down here. Remember what I said here? I said that we had the crown on that tooth. There's somebody with background information here. Nobody's going on. Can you mute, please? See, I should. Oh, okay. Dr. Prasanna. Dr. Wadaj. Can somebody mute that person? Let me see.
On, you can mute him.
Only I can?
Yes, you have to go for unmute everybody. Click on participants and mute everybody. Mute everybody, sorry.
Can you hear me still? No.
Yes,
we can hear you,
perfect.
Don.
I can hear you. No problem. When you click on mute everybody, you only mute the participants. You don't mute the amphitryon, the host.
Okay. All right. Okay, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. Welcome, Elena. I know this. Let's see. P. Let me get my little drawing again. Okay, so over here is the you can see my cursor, right? Yeah, because I'm not on PowerPoint, so I can't draw around that anymore. Okay, so you can see my cursor? I'm pointing? Okay, good. Thank you. So this is the instructions that were submitted, and this is what we got back. So we say, well, that's a lot of attachments, right? That's right. We use a lot of attachments. Why do we use attachments? So we can get a better grab on the tooth. That's why. And if we can get a better grab on the tooth, then the tooth is going to move better. Okay. If we don't use attachments, then the plastic can slip off the tooth because there's no undercuts, especially on incisors and stuff. There's no undercuts. So you might be able to get away with some teeth that have big undercuts, but most teeth don't have a lot of undercuts, you know, in the direction you're trying to push on the tooth. So we use a lot of attachments. Now, the attachments, you put them on with a template, right? Composite in the template, and we have really nice templates, and then you just light cure right through the template. Okay, try not to have a lot of excess flash. Okay, you don't want that. So, and we got some IPR. So let's find out some of what's going on. So I'm going to turn on, let's see, staging is like when the teeth are moving, and you can see they're all moving here. They're all moving at the same time, kind of like the crowd principle. Each one of those little blue lines is a tray, and each of these, like tooth is moving. For instance, this tooth right here. Oh, I see. This is the old the other numbering system. This one is not moving at tray one, but then it moves all the time. Okay, so they're putting on the attachments, but they're not moving the teeth. Why? At that first stage, because the teeth are probably moved from the time that you did the brackets until now, and they don't want to move even more. So you get the teeth to fit this tray, and then we'll start moving. Okay, so that first tray might be in for even like 10 days to 2 weeks. Could be. First tray. After brackets. In this case, she said he was comfortable after 1 to 2 days. His tray was seated. Okay? So just understand that. So we have 21 stages. And if I want to see how fast this rotation, let's turn on superimposition. So let's look at 1, 2. This was the one that was anterior crossbite. Tooth 1, 2. It's going to get 1.8 mesial rotation. That's not much. Extrusion. It's going to extrude. It's not really going very far. It's got a little bit of. Let's look at the root. The root is going lingual, not labial. Huh, that's funny. We didn't use it in 1825. But okay, we'll take it. So in other words, the tooth and the root came forward. Remember how the root was already more forward of the incisal edge and it tipped forward? Well, I guess that worked out. So you can see here, whenever there is a degree, that's degrees. If there's no degree, then that's millimeters. Down here on the tooth movement tool. So this is tooth number 7. To change that, you have to go to, it wasn't working, now it works, to your preferences. No, anyway, to your preferences, and then I change the system, okay, to 1 through 32 or whatever. No, not 1 through 32. For the orthodontic FDI, I think it is. Okay, so wait a minute. There's 21 trays. Why is there 21 trays? Well, there's some tooth there that needs to be moved a long way. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 21 trays. You're looking and say, this looks like 10 trays, right? We don't have any big rotations. Those have been already corrected in the aligners. So you could even come up with this and say, let's see, how much is that rotated? Well, there's a 19-degree rotation. Okay. 19-degree rotation. I told you I said 1.5 degrees per tray. So that went over the 10. Let's turn off the super. You see this right here? Wait a minute. No. You see that right there? That's beyond your 10 tray by a little bit. How about this one? This one is 4.2, and that has a 19-degree rotation. Again, beyond the 10 tray. So this right here, both those teeth are like beyond 10 trays. So you have to, if you had bracket error there, then you'd have to reposition the bracket to get closer. You got to get closer to get to the 10 tray. This will go beyond. This one was up to 20, but you could push it back under 20. And I will tell you how to do that too. I didn't do it on this case, but I'm also figuring it out. So I think it's just $100 difference. Okay. So let's find something that that's going to take more. Oh, this one. Okay. This one. We expanded this one, right? See the expansion there on the superimposition? Okay, and then the root apex goes 3.1 millimeters to the buccal. In 20 trays, that's 1.5. That's pretty aggressive, and that tooth was not bracketed. So the periodontal ligament's not ready. And then this one, let's see, this one. There's a 4.0 right there, you see that? So you just click on the teeth, and and this is the apex going buccal. Apex going buccal, 3.7. These are all 4.0 being done. This is two. There's a 4.6. 4.6 going here. Okay, now let's look at let's find the biggest rotation. Let's see. Let's do the lower. I want you to see this. These are some of the tools I use. So let's turn off the superimposition. Let's go back to here. And we have these two teeth that are, let's do the lateral. It has a 19-degree rotation, okay? Now I want you to watch for the crown under rotation. I'll go slowly at the beginning. We'll go up, up, stop. Okay, there's one. There we go. 0.5 millimeter from 0. 0.5 degrees. Remember, 1 degree. Now 0.5 to 1. 1 to 0.5. So that's going at 1.5. It's going to 0.5 degrees per tray. You see this right here? Look at this number change. We're now at 2.5. 4.3. Now, once they've got that past a few stages, now they're going at 0.8 degree per stage. Now even faster. 1.8. It was that 6.1, 7.9, 1.8. So they started off slower and then they went faster. Can you see that? This tool is amazing. You're able to see how they're moving the teeth, okay? And whether or not that's reasonable or not. All the way down to, you finally end up at 19 degrees, right? But this will tell you they started off at a 0.5 degree per tray. Now, since this had a bracket on it, I think they could go faster than that. So if you knew that, you could say, could you make this to be 18 trays or 20 trays and change the rate of tooth movement in the first 5 stages on tooth 4.2, could you change that to 1.0? And you're already into 20. You get that? So this tool is amazing. It tells you which way the tooth and which way the root is moving. And since we have some that are 4.0, see, 4 point on the root apex, where was that? Oh, that was on the upper. Yeah, there's a 4.6 right there, right? 4.6 and 20 trays. That is at risk, I think, to losing tracking. So if you knew that, you say, okay, let's play the let's play it from 0 on, and I'm gonna go faster now. Just look at the translation, the second line right here. 7.9, 22, point. Now you can see how fast they are doing. Now remember, this should be 0.1 as a standard, okay, 0.1. Let's do it again a little slower. Zero point 0.2, 0.3. See, what was this? 0.2, 0.2, 0.3. Okay, so they're going at 0.2 to 0.3 per stage. Let's look further down here. Let's see this. 3.2, 3.5, so 0.3, okay? So this is where the patient comes in to the teeth are fully seated, and you tell them where the risk is right up here on the right side. So if that starts coming loose and the tray doesn't seat all the way, I want you to use Chewies on that, in that area. And if you had dental monitoring, they would tell you, you can't change the tray yet. There's something slipping back there. Okay? You got it? Okay. What other tools? Contact is pretty cool. This one's new. So it tells you where the contacts are. Here, 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 here. And what you're supposed to be doing is saying, okay, posterior contact, anterior contact in general, in aligners, we avoid anterior contact. Why? Because there's two sets of aligners there that are overlapped. And so you need a little space for those. And if you put the teeth in contact, then you get posterior open bite. You will not see posterior open bite in this product. It's very rare. I only have 1 or 2 cases, and you'll see one of them, I think, in another couple webinars. And you know what happened? It was growth. Growth caused the posterior open bite. It pushed the mandible forward, it slammed it against the upper incisors, and the posterior teeth opened. Okay? I found it. So don't expect it here. Now, with some other products, you're going to see it. Some other companies, you're going to see posterior open bite on at least half the cases. I know, because I've been working with them. Okay? But we're still working with them. But someday it'll only be this. We'll get rid of the problem. Okay. So so that's the contact. The superimposition is telling you where the tooth was versus where it is now, and you can go at any part during this thing, and it'll tell you where it's moving. You see that changing? It's changing. You see that on the superimposition. Okay. I don't use grid. I don't use section, but some of you would. Is that cool? So if you're wondering if you need buccal root torque, there it is right there. No, you don't. That looks good. But if you see it way out like that, you say, no, I need buccal root torque. Bring that buccal crown back into the thing. So you've got that tool. I don't use that too much. The tooth movement table I use on every case. Every case. Every case, not just part of them. every case, every stage. Okay, stop that. Tooth movement table, that's this table I've been showing you. Overbite, overjet, it does tell you how many millimeters is the overbite and overjet, so you don't have to do it. Bolton on this case showed 2.46, 3.45. Okay. So do you think that there should be some IPR in this case? Well, first of all, we have some teeth that need to be extruded, right? And if you're extruding, you need either IPR or you need to separate them. Okay? And you need an attachment, because if it's on an incisor, it's just a slope there. There's nothing to grab onto, so you need an attachment. All right, so I think that's pretty good on the tools. Let's see. New share. Oh, this is easier. Okay, we're back to this one. Okay, so tools that I use personally is the superimposition tool. Wait a minute. Oh, I see. I have to be on this one. This is my #1 tool. The superimposition. Control P. #1 tool. Tooth movement tool. #2 tool. Okay. Identify teeth, key tooth. I do it routinely now. I figure out which tooth. And how do I identify them? Well, by looking at those other 2 tools. I say, these are the teeth moving the longest distance, and how fast are we getting there? Simple math. Overcorrection of rotations. Well, that's me looking at the rotation, looking at the start, looking at the end, and seeing if it needs to be rotated more. Okay? I do that in every case. Torque of key tooth. I do that in every case. I look at the change in inclination. I did not show you that. Let me go back. It won't take me but a second now they know how to do this. Well, maybe I can't do it. Oh, there it is. Okay. What did I want to show you? Oh my. It was after torque. Oh, it is torque. Okay, so let's say we got this tooth that was on the lingual. Okay, so what you do is that you compare the translation forward at the crown level, 0, and you compare with the apex lingual. So this gets lingual root torque. I would not have guessed on that tooth that we would be doing lingual root torque to get to this. But if you want to change it, you want to make it more labial, you just tell them, change the root torque from 1.1 lingual to 1.1 labial, and they'll do that, okay? That's a nice way to communicate. Okay, try it again. So we're back to share. Okay, torque of the teeth, overbite, overjet. I generally don't look at that too much. Bolton, personally, I don't look at that too much. Contacts, it's nice, but I don't look at that too much. Section tools, same. Residual space closure. Oh, let me talk about about that. Residual space closure is the last three. You'll see that in this case too. The last three steps, they close up the space. And then customize the setup. I don't usually customize the setup. I don't want you to customize the setup. So this was our superimposition that you just saw. Key tooth 4-2 has extrusion. It has there it is. Okay. Oh, I see. It has extrusion.
There. Let me see.
It has rotation.
Pinafo.
Okay. It has, this is the labial translation of the root, goes further than the labial translation of the crown. So this has labial root torque. Do you understand? That's how you do that one. You compare right versus left. Okay. Contact tool, I just showed you that. Section tool, I showed you that. And on this case, you can see there's no contact. We don't want contact here. You have to fit two trays between them. Bone proportions. Upper is bigger than the lower, anterior and posterior. So you should be doing, to get all the proportions, IPR in the upper. If you don't do that, then there'll be a difference in the overjet. Okay. So we also use IPR to adjust overjet, and that's independent of Bolton. Okay, in this case, what happened is that when it came back, Amit Lala, he's my partner in the McGann Lala aligner team, and he was the one that did the customization. Personally, I do not do customization. Okay. I have added an attachment before or removed an attachment. That's all I do. I do not, okay. I have rotated a tooth before, okay? Instead of sending it back, that's the last tooth I got, okay? But to do this, please don't, okay? You'll just mess the whole thing up. Let the pros do it. Just give them instructions. Let them do it. We got great designers. They'll do what you say. Believe me, okay? So, but this was him doing his magic, but he knows what he wants. He knows what he wants. He knows exactly what he wants, and that's what he's doing down there. He's changing every tooth around a little bit. Now, can you see a difference in what he did versus what was there before? And don't tell me no, because he did a lot of adjusting, but I can't necessarily see it, right? Is the overbite the same? We gotta go back several. Does that doesn't look as good as it looks after you got done, right? Look again. Close your eyes. Open them now. I mean, I would say that lateral incisor looks a whole lot better, right? Lateral incisor looks a whole lot better. He did move around a few attachments. He changed all the IPR on this. When there was extrusion up here, he did a 0.2 millimeter IPR for the extrusion. So, but he's a master at all this, a master at attachments, a master of all this. Now it's 21 trays plus 3 more trays for residual space closure. So residual space closure is when you're finishing, okay? So I think in this case, we should expect to be done in those 21 trays. So close up the spaces that you made to make the teeth rotate and everything else. Close it up nice and tight. So what Progressive Aligners does, which is different than the other companies, in some of the companies, you say, give me virtual C chain, okay? And then that doesn't work. So then you start telling them, well, give me IPR of 0.3, and you don't do the IPR. That's fake IPR, right? To tighten it up. You don't have to do any of those. You just tell them you want residual space closure. Now, they give you 3 trays, and each tray progressively tightens everything up. And you can actually see it on the software. You'll see it go like that, okay? Each tray progressively tightens up. You don't have to use all 3 trays. You could do it in one. And the patient says, yeah, I'm not catching any food. You floss and everything looks good. Okay, there's a few open contacts. Go ahead, let's do number 2. Come back, floss, see how things are. Say, yeah, that looks good. You don't have to use 3. But there are 3. Use all 3, that's a lot of space they're closing. I don't know exactly how much space, but they're closing space, okay? So it's very simple. All you just say is RSC, residual space closure, done. But you can say RSC 2 trays. If you're doing a 10 tray and you want to close that space at the end, I'd recommend you do 8 or 9, but always include a that residual space closure tray. Okay? So when I'm saying 10 trays, 15 degrees, you got to leave some for closing the space. IPR, okay? And here's the residual space closure from tray 21 to 24. Can you see the difference in the superimposition? The front teeth on the upper moving back further. You see that? That's how much they're changing. They're in 3 trays, they're changing a lot. They're tightening all this up, okay? Okay, so tooth 4-2, 19-degree rotation. Is that overcorrected? Yes. It was like this. It is like this. So some of that 19 degrees is overcorrection. So could I do on this 19 degree, could I do that in 10 trays? Well, I could do 15 degrees in 10 trays. So could I do 19? Well, I would get it without the overcorrection. Okay? So you could, it'd be close. Your patient would be happy. You'd probably be happy. But the closer you look, the more you got to do. Sorry. And unfortunately, I look close. Okay, so this one, tooth 1-2, key tooth. This one, this was, this is what Dr. Lala changed right here. You remember where in the first setup, it said 1.1 degree lingual on that tooth, remember? And I'm going, that doesn't seem right. Well, the tooth looked a lot better after he customized it, right? And this is showing you after he customized where did the root move? 2.7 millimeters labial. He sees the need for labial root torque. I kind of went back and you know, it looks pretty good, you know, except that, right? No, it looked better if you added the labial root torque, and quite a bit, 2.7 degrees. I'm sorry, 2.7 millimeters. 2.7 millimeters in 21 trays. That sound okay? That sounds okay. It's the 4.6 that doesn't sound okay. And he has an attachment on that. I don't think it had an attachment before. Should I go back? See? No attachment on that key tooth. So he customized it with an attachment. Bring that root forward. It looks better. You're not looking at the incisal edge. Before you were looking at the incisal edge, the worn incisal edge. And documented, he changed it to 2.7 labial root torque. Okay? Right there. Labial root movement is corrected at 0.13 per stage. That sounds okay, especially for a tooth that's had a bracket on it and it's been moving in that direction. Double this rate should be possible following brackets, reducing trays from 20 to 10. Okay, but that comes down to how tight is that tray going to be when the patient puts it in? Are they going to have to push it down with chewies every time? And is it going to hurt them? There was somebody from Smile Direct last week, and she couldn't wear the trays. She said they hurt her. Why? Too much activation. And they're too stiff. Anyway, so it's possible. It's just how much effort are you going to do to push those trays down, get them down? And so even with an overactivated tray, which I'm sure some of the clear correct ones for sure were way overactivated. If you took a really good patient, they'd make it work anyway. Okay? So anyway, that's the way it goes. So the risk of a 10 tray finishing is that there's no refinements. And now I said a refinement can be purchased 150. I think it's 300, but anyway. Nobody's had to do one yet, so I don't know. Okay, so here's a staging that guides you through when you would use this in the clinic, but there's other ways to find out when the IPR is. It lights up. You can run the cursor over it. It tells you at what stage, but the staging helps you, okay? Keep the overall perspective. Shipping history. That's important, especially if you're using finishing aligners after brackets. You don't want it to be too long. So I was curious about how fast this was getting there, because this was new. It's, you know, coming into San Diego, and everybody, by the way, everybody makes their trays internationally. Everybody. One company, ClearCorrect, has a little small operating plant in Texas, but it's small, and they're in China, Poland, and you know, everybody's internationally, including Invisalign. They're all in places that you wouldn't imagine. So anyway, so it comes in DHL, and it took 5 days to get cleared from customs. Oh, yeah, come on, man. And then so he has his little Essex retainer, and she gave him 2 just in case one breaks. So total everything, I think she got everything on in 10 days. But if it hadn't been for the customs holding up, she would have got it in 5 or 6, that's amazing. Manufacturing is usually a long time too. And their estimated manufacturing was longer than it took to ship. You see this, it says On the 6th, they said, we'll take 6 days to manufacture, but they sent it out on the 9th. So it was only 3 days to manufacture. So it came in and they give you some chewies, nice packaging. And it doesn't look cheap. It looks official. Okay, it's got all the official stuff on it, including all the CEs and everything else, and all those regulations that you have to pass. So then on the templates, she liked the template. She said there's no tricks. That's another way of saying it. No tricks that you had to do on these templates. On some of these templates, the aligner material stuck to the to the template, and it would mess up the attachment. So she says, yeah, she used another one that also you didn't need any special tricks, and this one was also the same. And then she was comparing a couple others. Actually, I don't think that they're thinner, but I mean, I don't think they're thicker, but if they are, they're more flexible. So whatever, they work. Let's put it that way. And they definitely work for sure. We'll do case after case after case. I've got hundreds, and I can promise you these things work and they're documented. Okay. So that's the end of this webinar. And here's some links to the previous 3, which I did the last one, and then Dr. Collins Harrow did the 2 previous ones. You can just take a picture of that screen if you want, or you can get them some other ways. Ask for the links. They're YouTube links. I think you can find them on Collaborate, and if not, just send me an email or something or a message, and I can send them to you. And then the next webinars, the next one's going to be by Collins. It's going to be Thursday, September 21st, 5 p.m. So Europe is going to be late, and Australia is going to be Friday morning. And then I'm going to do, that's going to be on the functional shifts or bad bites. And then I'm going to do October 6th at 4 p.m., which will be good. It'll be late for the Europeans. Yeah, it'll be late for the Europeans. And that'll be on mixed dentition and doing the basics with like progressive aligners. And on that one, you'll be using the unlimited trays, because that's 5 years. So that enables you to do a 5-year case with aligners. And it makes it easier. It's just easier than all these other things that you've been doing. Okay? So we'll show you how that works on some basic issues like deep bite, not enough space for erupting teeth, things like that. Okay? Distalization. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much. I appreciate you coming and watching, and if you missed it, then you're probably watching it on YouTube, and I appreciate you too. So we can't make everybody have a convenient time. Some are obviously working here. I can see the pictures. They got the masks on and the head caps and everything else. Thank you for, you're probably, you're there watching from your clinic. Okay. I can see Dr. Lee live there. So if you want, I will take questions. You can now turn on your I will unmute you if I can. And let's see here, participants. You can ask to unmute, I think. Okay, so Does anybody have any, does anybody have any questions? Or comments, or just how you doing?
John, I have a question.
Yes,
So, would you comment a little bit on doing, let's say, like just an upper arch or just a lower arch to start a case with brackets? So, say you're doing, the upper arch doesn't have really much to do, but the lower arch has got some crowding rotations, and you want to start with one arch with brackets and then transition into aligners. And maybe, some of the challenges that you may run into with arch coordination if you're doing just one arch with brackets and then trying to do the other with just aligners.
yes. I've done a few of those cases. The one I think that was the most notable was a girl was getting married. She wanted her teeth straightened as fast as she could, and on the lower, and we put brackets on the lower and a liner on the upper, and that didn't do. Actually, that was a Cynthia's patient, and that didn't work too good. There wasn't any coordination. If you're going to straighten crowded teeth on the lower, they have to be able to move forward, right? On the basics of moving teeth, it's arch enlargement. So you first look to see if there's overjet. If there's overjet, sure, go ahead and straighten those lower teeth. But if there's not overjet, then they're just going to slam against the upper linguals. Bite's going to open, and it's not going to be pretty. So so I would discourage people from, number one, doing aligners in one arch. Number two, doing aligners in one arch and brackets in another arch. They don't coordinate very well, to tell you the truth. So so if you use aligners together, upper and lower, then they can coordinate them for you. If you use brackets upper and lower, then that coordinates pretty well too, as we all know. That's my comment. Unless, I guess, if you could do that with the agreement that that we'll get started, we'll get as much done as we can in the one arch, and then we'll give you aligners upper and lower. That's okay, because they'll be able to coordinate everything with the aligners that follow in the setup. Is that what you're asking?
No, it's a good comment, because I know, sometimes people are like, well, hey, I can get you started in a liner in the upper and brackets in the lower. And that's been my experience as well, is if you're going to do that, one, make sure that you choose an arch wire that fits the existing arch form very well, and that you're not changing the arch form of the upper. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to have transverse coordination problems as well.
And that's going to have to be 016, Nai.
Or two, you could start the lower without anything in the upper, so that they do continue to have some coordination in the transverse, because they continue to be an occlusion. But the minute you throw that aligner in there, you basically lose that interdigitation, 22 hours a day, and so you can lose control of the transverse coordination.
Yeah. Basically, things don't work well together. Single arch, anything. So if you want to start with brackets lower, aligner upper, with the idea that you're going to then, after a certain period of time, 3 or 4 or 5 months, you're going to change to a new setup to coordinate everything with aligners, that's okay with me. That's okay. Just know that everything's not going to go perfect, so you're going to have to change to aligner upper, aligner lower, or bracket upper, bracket lower, one of the two.
You're just plan on that there's going to be some revisions, there's going to be some arch coordination that's going to have to happen the longer that you are doing, aligner in one and brackets in the other. So that's been my experience as well.
Yeah, so what we're saying is on the brackets upper and lower here that you just saw, there was no guarantee that it was going to be finished that way. No, it was just get rid of some of those major problems let the brackets do the heavy lifting, and then switch over to the aligners. And I think that's what the whole point of it is, to get people done quicker, get what they want faster, and you know, it's not that much extra cost, and you factor it into the cost when you do it. So if you really want to look at it, you'd probably be going unlimited trays. Before, instead, she's doing a 30 tray, so it's the same, you know, cost of goods as if you just did all liners. It's the same out of your pocket.